Hello, welcome to the Seven Living with the Planets. I'm Lucy Baldwin, and today I'm going to talk about lunar magic and why you might be struggling to hear your intuition, or why you feel like you can't hear your intuition. So, a lot of people think that they need a stronger intuition, that their intuition is something that they need to strengthen. And what lunar magic and working with the moon will show you is that what you actually need, what will actually help you more than trying to like strengthen your intuition, is to have less noise, less interference between you and your intuition, less distraction, less stimulation. So, a lot of times our intuition is just drowned out by our own fear, specifically our fear of discomfort. We use distractions like, scrolling and watching shows and eating foods and just all of those habits that I'm always talking about all the time. The ways that we avoid feeling, the ways that we avoid feeling ourselves and our emotions. And with that, we lose our ability to perceive our own intuition. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's always here. We always have it. The lunar archetype exists within you. It is powerful within you. And it can be quiet. The moon is of the night, it's of the darkness, it's of the quiet. And so are you available for it? Are you open to it? Are you giving yourself space and time without distraction and stimulation in order to be able to even have a chance to feel what your truth is? A lot of times it's like our emotions have to slap us in the face and like overtake us for us to be willing to acknowledge them. It's hard to like see those rhythms and feel the currents because it just feels like we're on a roller coaster. So this is self-abandonment. Whenever we are moving to distract ourselves instead of just being present with ourselves, and we all do it. It's not I really don't want you to take this and be like, I'm doing it wrong and I'm bad and this is why I'm having these problems. I just want to encourage you to take that extra beat to sit with yourself. And something that I talk about a lot, I really want to uh, press upon you here is that it can be very quick. Checking in with yourself can be it doesn't have to take a long time. You don't have to like sit for 3 hours in the dark. I mean, you can, and I'm not going to stop you. That sounds like a great idea. But checking in with yourself, having a practice of just really putting your focus on your body, on yourself, it could be a breath. It could just be a breath, that can make a big difference. And doing that regularly, doing that multiple times throughout a day, just taking that second. And sometimes, and that's a muscle that you can build. You can build doing more of that, just feeling into yourself. We like to overcomplicate things. We like to feel like anything that we do has to require a lot of effort, but we're not going to like overnight just quit distracting ourselves. We're not just going to quit being overstimulated. We live in an extremely stimulating world with so many amazing things at our fingertips, such incredible media, and just there's so much. And I'm not saying that you should even necessarily try to walk away from that, because I don't think that's sustainable. That wouldn't set you up for success. But taking that beat to feel into yourself periodically throughout the day, instead of just going immediately into numbing or immediately into just avoidance. Um, so there's something that comes up a lot in the topic of intuition that I want to touch on, I think is really important. And that's the difference between intuition and fear anxiety. It can be really hard to discern, like, is it my intuition saying no, or is it my fear saying no? And the also compulsive ways that we just automatically push things away. And so, what I want to say to that, because I've had that conundrum numerous times in my life, and especially in our head, we get in our head and then we're like, I don't feel right about this, but I don't know if I'm just afraid or if it's actually what I don't want. Um, it's all about getting into feeling the sensations in your body. It's about putting your focus on your body and feeling your body. But also, because this is the moon, we're talking about the moon and moon magic, I would always recommend asking the moon for wisdom or guidance or clarity. So you can, what I would recommend, like the simplest thing that you could do is just, if you're not sure, you're not clear, you don't know, and you want to make the right decision. And that's the thing, is we also put so much weight on these decisions that we make when there is fear involved. Taking a breath, feeling the body. So that literally means like focusing your attention on the body, like the arrow of your attention, instead of thinking your thoughts, thinking about like, okay, what do I feel? You can scan your body, you can just feel into it. And as you do that, you can ask the moon, beloved moon, however you want to refer to the moon in your mind, show me if this is a yes or a no. Help me see my own intuition. Help me guide my decision making process. And you can just, it's like a little prayer asking for insight, and notice what happens, and just give yourself that beat to check in and use the moon. And if you do that and you feel like maybe you didn't get the clarity that you wanted, you can also always like pull tarot cards or some other way. But I always recommend combining this with some like calling in the archetype, especially of the moon, especially when you're thinking in terms of like, is it my intuition? When there's a lot of emotionality like on the line, when there's fear, anxiety, stress, um, giving yourself that watery opportunity to just be in the current of the waves. Because sometimes if you just let yourself feel the fear, it will start to subside. Another thing that you can do is, this is a way that I work with fear, and this tends to be more like in the realm of Saturn. I do a lot of my fear work with Saturn, but I would think about, whatever it is I'm afraid of, and just go through this process of inquiry of, okay, what am I afraid is going to happen if I make the wrong choice? And then what's going to happen? And then what would happen? And just take yourself through the process of like, what is it that you're actually afraid of here? Like, what is this like scary scenario that is in your mind that oftentimes we don't fully acknowledge, like we don't fully go there and like clarify what it is that we're afraid of. And frequently when we do, we can then kind of see that's not rational. That's not a rational fear. And sometimes it's like, oh no, that's a very real possibility. And this is something I should really consider, right? It's like, if you're going to rob a bank and you're like afraid of getting caught, it's like, yeah, that's a viable fear. Maybe don't do that. But if it's like, I want to launch a program and I'm afraid of failure, I'm afraid of being humiliated, well, then it's like, okay, well, what happens if I get humiliated? Like, and then you start to see that, oh, actually, it would be totally okay. And I would be totally fine. It's like, well, what if only one person signs up and then I have to cancel? Well, then I would just email that person and let them know. And it just wouldn't be the end of the world. The risk reward there, as soon as you start to unravel it and follow the thread and see where it leads, you realize that, okay, I feel that fear is true within me, because we don't want to diminish it. We don't want to bypass how we're actually feeling, but then we can see that, like, okay, I feel this way. And that doesn't mean that I shouldn't still try. And so I'm just going to bring my fear with me. I'm going to let it have its space, but I'm still going to do the thing. And so we can see, like, it's not intuition, it's fear here. And we can like make the decision from that point. So I hope this is helpful. I've given you three different ways here. One is to just simply go inward and ask the moon for guidance. Two, I mentioned working with tarot cards and potentially invoking the moon while you do so. And then three is working from the fear and looking at what am I really afraid of? And sort of following that thread to see if it unwinds or if it turns into something substantial that's worth really considering. Okay, so the thing is that the moon is your emotional inner weather, right? The moon governs your emotional, like, inner state, those waves of emotion. And emotion is always connected to the element water. And so distraction is like it creates like a dam for the emotion, right? It creates this buildup where when we don't feel the emotions and we don't let them like flow, they get like dammed up. And sometimes, it's like we dam up so much of our emotion by trying to distract ourselves, repress the emotions, not face it, not feel it, that the dam breaks, right? And it overtakes us. And it can feel like, that can lead to burnout. It can lead to breaking down. It can lead to rage and just like uncontrolled outrage or just like uncontrolled grief. And because, like, I guess what I'm saying is that or maybe the dam stays, maybe you're able to, like, keep the dam together, but there's gonna be these leaks. There's always in order to for that dam to stay dammed up, like, there has to be places where it's leaking, and those leaks end up looking like resentment, things that come out sideways, lack of clarity, lack of energy, distortion, distorted sense of yourself and reality, like inability to connect. It totally blocks intimacy. It blocks our capacity for intimacy. A lot of people, we want to have that perfect, amazing, loving, beautiful relationship, right? We want to have these like really deep relationships with deep, deep love. And if you are not able to be vulnerable with yourself and feel your own emotions, you cannot do that with other people either. So it literally blocks your ability to connect with other people deeply, to have deep emotional intimacy with others, and will create conflict in your relationships. Or you'll have easy relationships, but they'll be lacking that depth of feeling that you're looking for. And so you'll always be yearning for something that you won't quite be able to grasp onto. And so what I'm saying is that feeling our emotions is just, it's incredibly crucial. Like we have to let the water flow. We have to let the moon have like the tides come in and go out and feel the ebbs and flows that are just a necessary part of the human experience in order to have a healthy sense of ourselves, to have healthy relationships, to have healthy boundaries, to have that like healthy, happy, peaceful inner experience. So there's a softness to it. And when we are able to allow our emotions, when we're willing to face them, there is a softness to them. They become, which isn't to say that certain emotions aren't like painful exactly. It's just that they become much sharper when we dam them up and then they crash into us when we let them flow. And so working with the moon is, well, how do I do that, Lucy? Well, the answer is A, working with the moon, but it's exactly what I started with talking about, which is checking in with yourself. So we really avoid and we don't even know what we're avoiding. It's fascinating. I see this like in myself, I see it in people that I work with. I see it just everywhere all the time. The avoidance of feeling things that we might not we might not say if asked, oh yeah, I try not to feel that. We don't even realize. We just tend towards homeostasis. Humans always tend towards homeostasis, physically, emotionally, spiritually. We want to like stay in our comfortable bubble of what we're used to experiencing. And so whatever the emotional state is that you're used to experiencing, that is what you're going to like allow yourself to experience. And so it's a practice. It's an ongoing practice of working with the moon, checking in with your feelings, checking in with and with by your feelings I even just mean the sensations in your body, putting your focus on the sensations in your body. This is where so much of your power comes from. And that is what emotions are, right? Emotions show up as feelings that wash over us, feelings in our body. It's a tightness in our chest, a prickling in our eyes, just like this unending need to smile, like your cheek, like pain in your cheeks from smiling, like lob in your throat. These are just common ways that I would describe like the actual sensation that we then label with an emotion, right? But it's all can be broken down into sensation. And so allowing yourself to feel those things, putting your attention on them, letting them swell up and wash over. And I think a big part of this is like trusting, having faith in yourself that you can handle it, because you absolutely can. You absolutely can handle emotion, and having faith that it won't be forever. And so again, the moon takes us into these cycles, these rhythms of, and these waves, right? These watery ocean, the waves of the ocean, they come over you and they wash over you and then they're gone. So, you don't have to feel it forever, but you can feel it for a few minutes and then let it wash over you so that it doesn't just dam up and add on to this constant burden. Because again, when you're damming it up, you're carrying that all the time. And so if you have been damming it up, you can start to slowly release the dam, right? You don't want to like release it all at once. Most people, if you're so in the habit of damming it up, it's like when you have to pee for a really long time. If this ever happens to you, this happens to me. If I hold my pee for too long, it's hard for me to actually release and pee. Like I get so clenched up that it's hard to relax the muscles to actually be able to pee. So we want to just like slowly feel just a little bit and build the practice of feeling more and more. I hope that this has been helpful. And I guess what I really want to say is that your intuition, you have it. It's powerful. It's within you. It's not something that you have less of than some other person. Like all of that is just nonsense. It's really about learning to listen to it and create space for it. Create space for yourself to feel that moment in time. And a really great way that you could start implementing what I'm talking about here, if this is speaking to you, I would say do like a quick moon ritual right now where you call the moon in. I always say just Google the Orphic hymn to the moon and light a candle. If you have a white candle, that's fantastic. If you don't, it doesn't matter. Just light a candle. Read the poem to the moon and then sit in the dark, maybe just with your candle for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long you have, 3 minutes, and just let yourself practice feeling your body in the darkness. And then when you're done, you could just say, "Thank you, moon." If you can feel gratitude for the moon for helping you like process your emotions and feel your intuition and get in touch with yourself. And then, yeah, you can just close the ritual, blow out the candle and say, "So it is." And so that's my homework for you. And if you want to join, I do monthly rituals, monthly-ish, semi-monthly, maybe I'll start saying, in my free online community, Inner Circles. If you go to the link in the description, you can join my free community and come to those rituals. And I also do these community connection calls called turn-ons, and they're really, really fun and juicy, and I would love to see you there. So with that, I will see you in the next episode. Happy feeling.